I want to talk about machines a little bit. And I've been building machines for a long time. I was never like, super good at it or whatever. Like, but I got to work with Paul Rogers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I worked with Paul Rogers. I went there for 3 days, and I stayed for 3 weeks, and then it was turned into 3 months, and then it was like 4 months, and then I was like, oh shit, I got to get back to my life. Like I'm like hanging out in this backyard, in this little shed, you know, for like a really long time with this old man who was super fucking amazing, who just like was so, beautiful and like loving and kind and like, I don't know, he just super just, took me in, just rubbed me, told me how good I was, or, just all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like I felt like yeah, I was like really into just helping and like cleaning up after him and doing all this stuff. It wasn't like an apprenticeship. I mean, I wasn't his apprentice, not at all. I was more like a long term short guest. You know what I mean? Like it just never. Every other day I'd be like, should I get going? He's like, oh no, stay for another couple days, or stay a week. It's all good. Don't worry about it. And
Wow.
yeah, and then I was building machines with him. I was doing all the filing and all the all that stuff. And in the end, he told me, you should just draw a lot, and if your machines are broken, just send them back to me, and I'll fix them up for you. Which is pretty funny, coming from like an 88-year-old man, You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just don't worry about it. Just send them back to me. And I was like, I don't think I should take that attitude here. And I took rigorous notes and redrew them and all that stuff. And every year or so, I would make a machine, for myself. Along the a few years later, I became super good friends with a guy named Carson in Texas. He's from Austin, Texas, or he's from Texas, yeah, San Antonio, or I don't know, Houston, Texas, either. Yeah. And Carson was like, man, he was so funky, and he just made the shit like he reminded me of like a young Paul Rogers, like the way he was. He was so fucking cool, and like he was super southern, and like just not a dickhead bone in his body. You know what I mean? Like he was just straight up a cool guy, and was in the Navy and built machines fucking awesome. They worked so great and they were real nice, and so then he became like my guy. And every couple of years I would go work and make a machine with him, or make a couple machines with him, but just for myself, just for myself. And then he would, years later, he would be like, you should make some machines for people, like, and nah, it's okay. I'm good. I'm just doing this. And I have people asking me and stuff, but, without the whole setup and doing it, just a little bit was a great vacation for me. But, it wasn't it's not like a thing you can just like dip into, once in a while, unless you have it all set up and everything, And anyway, I don't do anything like that. So when my son was born, I started building machines with another friend of mine, this cat, Dan Dringenberg from Southern California. And, my dude, he like comes at it from the side, he knows everything. He just is like, he is like, the machinist, hands-on tool and die man, brilliant, tattoo machine builder. He totally understands what we're doing. He makes tattoos. He's really, heavily qualified for the technical craft of tattooing. And I would go there when my son was born, and my wife worked there, and so I would build machines, like, and it was so fun, and I got into the groove of it, and I made a bunch of one-off machines, And I made my son like a case of machines in case, like, you know, he was going to be a tattoo artist later, or maybe he could like travel around and sell them. And they'd be these antiques, you know, they'd be like, you know, 20 years old when he took them somewhere, you know. And it's funny because those are the machines I grab to use now. Like those are the machines I use now mostly. You know, unless I'm working on machines now, you know, to build, and they're like replicants of those, you know, of the ones that I made for him, you know, because I made like 10 different styles, and then the last couple years I've been making machines, you know, like a little short runs, you know, not a lot. I mean, just like, you know, 25 25 liners, 25 shaders, or, you know, I made yeah, it's just short runs. This is not like my major business, you know. Um, maybe one day, maybe when I'm 80, you know, then
Well, small batch is much more desirable these days when you think about it too. It's people want that.
I mean, you know, whatever they want. It's more, I kind of feel like a lot of times people get machines for me and they look at them like they don't know what the fuck to do with them because they, you know, they just don't run the way the ones run out there. You know what I mean? They run differently, or I don't know. And then I get people that just love me and love what I make, and, you know, always tell me how great it is, and the work heals up. You know, they turn it up. They turn it up. You know, they're running it on where it's meant to be. You know, and yeah. So then I think like, oh, if I'm gonna make machines, like I gotta like make a little tutorials or something, like so that people that buy them, like it's not like you can get it and then like retune it. You know, it's not like that. You know, it's like this is what it is, and you have.
Dan Cuban has been doing that, making little tutorials on his new innovations and being, oh, this is what you have to do, and he would actually have videos, and it
Oh,
was quite useful.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I've always felt weird about that. Like, you know, like everything is a secret, you know, not that it's a secret, but it's like, you know, hey, if you know, you know, you know, and if you know what I mean? Like, it's all a part of it, but I don't feel that way now. And I haven't felt that way in a long time. I mean, back in the day, I would definitely be like, you're asking me a machine question, you know, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to share that knowledge with anybody, and I don't really have it. Like Dringenberg, Dan, you know, could talk and like, you know, he could really share the knowledge. You know, he actually knows it. I'm like a guy who's like, you know what I mean. I'm like, does it feel right? You know, I know how it should feel for me to make a tattoo. I'm a technician, like a motherfucker, but I'm not a you know, I can't break it down. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you why. I don't know that stuff. You know, I just know that it has to run like this for me to do what I do. And as long as it runs like this, I can do it. And if it runs anything different, then it's going to be difficult for me, or it can't be done. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, or it's just going to be a pain in the ass. Like, no matter what, if the needle's going up and down, you know, you can make it work. But
Right, right.
yeah, is it going to be easy? Can I get this done from A to Z in 2 hours? You know what I mean? Am I going to, you know, I'm like fanatical, you know, about time and like filling space and like, getting that stuff done. I've been that way my whole life. So, you know, I've known, you know, people know me as, you know, I get the job done. You know what I mean? You don't have to sit for a long time with me, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm known for that, and I've worked hard for that. And you know, I try to bring that out in people. You know what I mean? And try to push it like that's what's normal. You know what I mean? Like this is how it should be, right? Like we should be in and out of here. You know what I mean? Like everyone, you know, everyone can do that. And I know some people get caught up with like they work by the hour, and you know that's how they make their living. So they do have to take time, you know. Not, you know, it's like biting off your hand to spite your face. You know, you're like, I'm working really hard to make it go faster to make less money. And, you know,
I know what you mean, but at the same time, it's got its advantages. It's like it'll heal better. There's less holes. It's
yeah,
going in quicker at a higher voltage. All of these things are great advantages, especially on the larger scale tattooing, right?
Yeah.
So I think I mean, that's another reason I'm sticking to coils personally too. I haven't found a need to change something that ain't broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why fix it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's for the next generation, I guess, because I know this stuff works, and I have friends out there that do incredible work, and they use the rotary machines or some other type of machine. And I was trying to develop a rotary machine that had a spring, and I'm still fucking with it, but like, so rarely. It was like there was a big rush on it, and I even went to Texas and went to Carson and was like, "This is my idea, make it fucking work." You know what I mean? Like, make this work, because this. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I think I've seen something like this before." First of all, so it wasn't like my idea, you know,
mm,
which I didn't, but I thought like, "Oh yeah," I go, "That's fine," but it doesn't matter because we could still make it work. Like, let's make it work. You know what I mean? Like, where all I want to do is use it. If I can make a machine that works, like all I want to do is use it, then I'm gonna fucking sell that to everybody. You know what I mean? And like, and that'll be that. Because this thing is so huge, and there has to be a way to make a living in this thing. So that's what I thought.
yeah, and this knowledge is disappearing now. This knowledge is like the machine builder's knowledge, not just the machine builder, but also the tattooer as their own personal maintenance person, looking at their coil, lining up with the armature bar, looking at their spring length, looking at how worn out the contact screw is or something like that. There's people that'll literally send their machine back, and all they had to do was turn their contact
Yeah,
screw.
yeah.
Like,
I've heard these stories. It's tough, man. And like, I'm grateful because the only people I've sold machines to, even the ones that don't use them, that are like, maybe I'm gonna wait for later, or or maybe they just love it as a collector and that's it, and they have machines that work great for them, so why fuck with it, right? Or they use rotaries or whatever. But I haven't had people that like ask me to send them back, and when they do, I think when they do, I'm always like, dude, fuck, you have to respring your machine. Like, that's it. Like, I'm sorry, you're at the side of the road. It's like, you have to fucking, if you put a spring on it and match it to where, where you remember it being, it'll be there.
yeah,
It'll be there. You have to have faith. And like, this is like, this is your fucking sword. You know what I mean? Like, you have to run it. It's like, I gave it to you and even now I can say, I have this fucking power supply, which I just bought like 3 months ago or 2 months ago. I'm like, this many watts, this many hertz, whatever, right? Run it at this many, ohms or whatever the fuck. Um, and run it that at that speed. I know it works great because I fucking used it. Like, I actually used that machine. I know it works great. If you run it at this and you fucking do it, just have no fear, man. Just fucking go. Put it in. Use the force. Whatever, right? Where
yeah,
the power it's running. You got tattooed, so you kind of have what it felt like. You're a tattooer already. You've been doing this forever. Like, it's it is what it is. But then, like, it's like a musical instrument. Like, someone could be used to one kind of guitar, and then they grab another one. And it's like, I don't know. It's just weird.
and what are they playing? Are they metal guitarists, or are they like a soft
Exactly.
country? And that's with the customizing thing for a tattooist. There is no one tool for everyone. Some people might want to work quicker. Some people might want to work slowly and softly. Some people might want to do fine line shit all day long.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
it's
the
not
thing
a
is, though, if you have a thing in front of you and you're trying to get, and the person needs to get it done, and you want to keep, get them in and out so they can be in and out of, comfort, discomfort, whatever. Then like, if the process is thought through, and you attack it with certainty, then you can get to the results faster, better healing, all of that stuff. Just like it's like it's all better and it's faster. So like then it comes down to the price thing. Like, oh well, if you're working for hourly, then you're getting you're getting less money. Well, you can fill that with more people, or you can just raise your fucking prices. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just fucking, you give people what it's worth. I know I'm working with new people now, and I've watched all of them work, and they're all super efficient. Works, and they all work with machines that my coworker makes. That I used the other day, and man, they work great too, and they work just the way that I like them. You know what I mean? So like, I picked them up, put them on, and used them, and they were great. Like like they were the way I like them. Yeah, the machines that I have a friend, another guy I worked with making machines in this big factory he makes the most amazing machines. I mean, this guy's the full professor. Another one, it just like answer everything. He could tell you every reason why, every millimeter and all that stuff. Brandon Feldman, who I had the fortunate to work with, and what a treat. Yeah, Adam Safari, man, this guy, he's more. I feel like he's more like on the lines. He's more of a lineman, like like he'll go into a military pay weekend and work and know and make machines to get that kind of a job done, like just the work done, and then they're so beautiful, like every one of them. I mean, between Brandon and um, Dan Dringenberg, these guys all not only do the machines work so good, but they're beautiful. Like they're really piece of fucking art. And wow, Paul Rogers would have just been like, this is fucking awesome. Like he would have held any one of those stuff. So I try to make stuff that Paul would love. But ultimately, what I'm after is doing the job the way I want the job to be done, personally. So I'm not making a million machines. I'm only making a few, and I'm going to be doing that again now.
Would you say that you're kind of putting in a bit of the Paul Rogers magic? Like for example, more of the modern coil machines, they started making it so they ran at a lower voltage, right? I think the Paul Rogers machines were more like 10 volts and stuff, right? To be
Yeah,
working quickly.
yeah. I mean, I am totally, the magic part. I mean, that's like what I love, and that's what I don't know. I can't. My brain doesn't work like that.
Mm.
Only like the actual feel, and like I can take a machine the way they are and like just do a little something here and there, and it'll totally work totally differently. You know what I mean? And a lot of that is just like go for it. Just the fearless. The fearlessness with the springs or the whatever whatever little part to get it to hit the way I want it to hit, to make that sound, when it runs at the right at the voltage it's meant to, where it gets to that pitch and it has that vibration, it has that amount of give back, and that exact feeling that I need,
Mm.
where it's right in the zone, that, and God willing, I have the right idea of that feeling at that moment, that I'm doing it. But it feels like, just over the 35 years or so, it's like, I don't know, man, it takes less time for me to get to that zone. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if it's not that, then it's nothing. And I just had an apprentice, for 2 years, and he's tattooing now in California. Um, and I told him pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much what you would get from me technically, like just by breaking down the machines, running them every time, being, hearing the sound of it going every time it's working, like, at some point, it's like, it's just going to be radically off if it's not that. You know what I mean? how many times do you hear something? How many times do you feel it? That's what you're gonna get from me. Like, and get it, and you can get a lot of other stuff too, probably only if you believe in it. You know what I mean? Like, if you believe in it, then you can get it because it's there. I mean, I'll support what your belief is. You know what I mean? Like, because I believe it too. You know what I mean?
Hmm, hmm.
Reality is gauged by two people's belief. Or the more people it is, the more real it is. It's like, do we wear masks? Should we be wearing a mask right now? I don't know. Some people might say we should be, right? Because, like, I don't know. I'm in my car. I mean, I drove by.
We need data.
You know.
But yeah, I get what you're saying though about the feel and everything, and that's another big part of the coil for me. I like to hear it. I like to hear if something's up. Why is it running a bit different? Oh, I can hear something's a bit different. I need to tweak something, or my copper contact screw is worn out, or my spring is starting to wear out, or there's a crack in the spring, or the whatever it might be, right?
I mean,
I know.
the other stuff, if it works, it works. It's just a matter of yeah, and I think the other stuff is more consistent, right? Because it doesn't change. That's why I was. And someone was like asking. I just noticed someone was asking something about why the departure from the coil. Where I've never departed. I mean, I've tried other stuff, but I've never departed from the coil
Yeah.
far. But I was fucking with the idea of something else because why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not? What if something could be easier? You know what I mean? And if it was more consistent and could give someone else the ability to do it. They say, like, to write a good plan. If you write a good plan, that you could hand that plan to somebody else and have them finish it, right? And that would be like to be able to do that would be like a real success. Where I always thought you had to do it yourself, everything yourself. But when you think about stuff like that, then it becomes there's just a different shape around, like, building tools, like that's actually a thing.
Yeah, and coil machines, they haven't changed much. I mean, I've seen really old ones that didn't have like the capacitor,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was like the contact screw and the spring materials, maybe even the coil core materials changed. They went from, like, silver contact screws for a while there, and now it seems like copper ones are more popular. I've seen tungsten ones and stuff like that. So it's like they were always playing around with different materials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that stuff too, because it is a bit tangible, but it's not necessarily numbers and technical. But it's like,
Yeah,
oh, that I can see that's a different material,
well,
and that's
but that will give you a different feel, like a different feel on the skin. Like, this is all very subtle. The vibrations are different. I mean, like, I a lot of times I use silver contacts,
mm,
and I would be like, silver contacts for a shade super important to me. Like, I try to do that. But then, like, I've proven to my over and over again that doesn't matter. And sometimes, like, I'll want it one way, and then the vibration is so fucking strong with something else. It's like, why am I getting in my way? I actually just picked up some minutes. It picked up some seconds. I just
mm.
picked a little bit of speed. Where, like, before I was softening it, and then I'm like, oh no, like, I can actually pick up time there, or get a faster fade, or a more solid black. So it's a constant. It's just it's you never. I guess when you think you figured it out, then that's the person that you might want to get something from. But I personally would probably walk away from that person. Like the one that has it all figured out. I know Paul never was like that. You know what I mean? Like, and his tattooing was simple. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the true traditional style. I mean, it didn't look as crisp as, like, some of the traditional people now.
Yeah, yeah, more folk art, less
Yeah,
digitally manipulated or something.
he wasn't like trying to be folk art, you know what I mean? He was just doing his thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, it's like, well, how do you take that machine that's what he was able to do with it? And then like Hardy would take it and do some fucking crazy technical masterpiece. You know what I mean? Same machine. That's like when you know, you're just working on the needles, right? So the machine will do the work, but what you do with it is 100% going to be, you know, what it looks like, you know? Why does this guy make it look like that, you know? You know what I mean? Like some of these, you know, Bob Roberts, perfect example, same thing. It's like, you know, he used Paul Rogers machines, but he was able to get different results.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like again back to these music analogies. Having a Les Paul heavy ass guitar versus all of the innovations from Japan to make these new heavy metal guitars that Steve Vai came up with or whatever, and it plays better, it's easier, but does
Yeah.
it have that folk sound that the heavy Gibson gave you? You know what I mean? I think the Coil machines are like the Gibson guitars.
Yeah. And then yeah, so then you go into the art part. It's like, you know, I mean, these are just world, you know, it's like a juggling thing, you know, different worlds all work together, you know, all happen at the same time. Um, yeah, the art and the craft come together with the person, and the person is there. So like, and there's the magic, because this all has to happen like right now. There's no, you know what I mean? You can set up a thing, you know, you can make a plan, and you know they say like, you know, if you want to make God laugh, you know, make a plan, you know, make all the drawings and have it ready. And I've done it so many different ways. I mean, this my career's been pretty fucking long now, and it's been like pretty busy, you know, like I've been working hard my whole life, you know. And I, you know, I love my job, so I never really worked hard. I mean, it's just working hard, you know, just putting in a lot of time, I guess, doing it, you know. I've always I've had a lot of different approaches, man, you know. And you know, sometimes I come at it wildly technical, and sometimes I come at it like super like art artistically, or like, you know, where that stuff is on the side, you know.